Thank you so much for coming on, Phil. I really do appreciate it. Everybody that doesn't know, Phil Better, he's actually the podcast. He calls himself the podcast mogul, and he has a podcast. And he's one of my clients, and still is. And he's gotten results. But I just wanted to give him an opportunity to really introduce himself and let everybody know what he does.
Hi, everybody. First off, Dwayne, thank you so much for your help. You've been integral, pretty much, of me growing my podcasting business. As Dwayne said, I am the podcast mogul. I'm Phil Better. I produce about close to a dozen podcasts for entrepreneurs, business owners, and influencers, as well as have 4 podcasts that I host myself and produce fully for myself. And I love creating podcasts. It's one of my greatest pleasures in life because I get to learn from masters when I do these podcasts. So it's always a pleasure to talk podcasting and how much you've helped me.
Absolutely. I really do appreciate that intro. And I know you are extremely passionate about podcasts. Every time I talk to you about podcasts, it's just like, I feel just that passion behind it. I love it.
Thank you. It's when you find your passion in life, everything else just comes rolling through. Like most of my life, I've been trying to figure out what my passion is. And it's like, maybe it's, working in the banking industry or working service industry. And funny enough, all of those really complements the podcasting skills that I've had, because you have to learn to communicate in that. And I love communicating. So podcasting is that next level of communication.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So I guess, Phil, before we actually get into like the results that you got within the program and how we work together and all that good stuff, I would like to know first, like, what makes you unique other than, what makes you unique as that person that makes podcasts? Because, anybody can say they make podcasts, right? Yeah. But ideally, what differentiates you? What makes you special? What stands you out compared to your competitors?
What stands me out from my competitors? One, I can do this for free. Like that's it. Like I do 30-minute calls with people on nearly a daily basis. My calendar's full of calls, people just asking how to start a podcast, and I'll do it for free because I just want the best podcasts out there. I want people, when they start podcasting, the majority of podcasters, when they start, they don't even get through 10 episodes. They fail out before 10. 92% of podcasts that are out there. So Amplify Media said there was about 2 million podcasts out there. So we're not talking individual episodes. We're talking the whole, like, there are podcasts, like they have a couple episodes. 92 of them fail after 10, before 10 episodes even hit. 8% go on to be more successful. And then you have to break it down to, like, how do you get a top 1% podcast? And that means you have to get like just over 3,000 downloads an episode. Like, I provide all this in the call one-on-one with the people, because I don't really care about making the money. Like, I make money, obviously, thanks to your system that you helped me implement. Yeah. But I just want people to be successful in their podcasting journey, because there's enough knowledge out there that individuals have that they should be sharing it. And it's a shame that it's all locked up here and not being shared. Absolutely. Because some of the best advice I have gotten has either been interviewing these entrepreneurs or editing their podcasts, because it's like I'm getting this master class before everybody else. So that's kind of why I'm better than everybody else. I wouldn't say I'm better than everybody else. I say I have a distinct advantage because I just want to give away my knowledge for free, and I do that on my podcasts.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that. Like, and to some people, like, they're saying, "Oh my gosh, he wants to give his podcast away for free. He's devaluing his service, yada yada yada." But like, that is what, like, I kind of teach in my program, right? Yeah. Not giving anything for free, but more so giving stuff without anything else in return, without asking for, money in return, or without asking for a favor or some kind of hidden agenda. Because when we provide value, people come back to us. It's a law of reciprocity, right?
Yeah. So I actually was on another podcast recently, a podcast called Talking with Experts by Chris Coden, who's now a client of mine. But I do it pro bono for him. What I like to do is, when I get a large company that signs me up, I look for someone who needs some help. And if they reach out, I'm like, look, I'll work with you for free, because someone else is already paying me. So I'm taking the knowledge that I'm using here and just passing it along and helping that person. And he, out of his kindness of his heart, we couldn't say the word reps. I can't say the word. It's one of the words I have the heart. That's it. And he as well, actually, it was funny because we were trying to say that word for at least 10 minutes on the show and we couldn't pronounce it. So we're just like, the paying it forward law,
Yeah.
But he's actually helping me because he's providing me with a service that he charges a lot for. So it's like you're bartering. It ends up you're finding people when you do give something away for free, they want to pay you in any way possible. And is it by, he's helping me do my video course that's coming out soon, either exchanging guests, because in podcasting, your guests, if you have an interview podcast like my own, they are your bread and butter.
Exactly.
So by him reaching out to these large names because of his connections in the video creation world, he's providing me a funnel to up my game with my interview guests. Like I go from nobodies to like the CEO of a major startup incubator in France, an owner of a rugby team, a millionaire down in Australia.
Yeah.
I don't want to jinx it, but he's working on getting a Shark Tank judge on his show, which he'll pass off to me. So that helping him grow his podcast, make his podcast better, just ends up making mine better, because I learn from what he's doing and I can implement it into mine.
That's awesome. And was this one of the clients that you had gotten from the program as well?
He is actually, yes. I started working with you. What was it? 2 months ago, I think we started working together.
Yes, about so.
Okay, yeah. And it's been fantastic. Every time I got on a phone with you, I didn't feel like I was being coached. I was being shown. I was being taught something that a buddy wants to teach me. Like that's one of your strengths, is you connect on that friendship level. And working with you, it's like I have a buddy for life. I feel like I know we've talked countless times each week about like, okay, I'm trying to do this, and you're like, no, you should try this. No, that's a great idea. And it's like you're open at 24/7, which I thoroughly enjoy, because it allows your clients to know, okay, this guy actually cares about my success, and it's not just I'm not just a number, a dollar sign to you. So I have to give you credit for that.
I definitely do appreciate that, Phil. Definitely do. I think one of the reasons why we connected, and one of the initial reasons, is because I paid it forward to you, right? I don't like to throw the word free out, but we both know what it kind of means when we say free. But for those people that are watching, like, they're probably thinking, oh, he said free. That's not what we're talking about here. But we're talking about paying it forward. And I think
it's an investment. It's more of an investment. You invested in me, and you saw that I was willing and able to do the small task, the small freebie that you provided to me. And you're like, you know what? Yeah. And I was like, okay, this worked. I'm ready to invest in you by paying you your fee, which is you're undercharging for what you're providing. So no, the value that you provide, like not only with you helped me with my Facebook profile, my LinkedIn profile, you gave me the bio, like you taught me how to write the proper bio. Like this is immensely amazing stuff. Because for someone who's never used LinkedIn, because I originally contacted you for LinkedIn, but we worked together on my Facebook, and pardon me, it's grown exponentially from your help, making me more of an authority in that brand. And same with my LinkedIn, it's grown. I've been getting clients from my LinkedIn as well, because of initially I wanted to invest in that. And you're like, no, let's look at your Facebook, and then we can work on your LinkedIn. But we worked at it at the same time, and it was just growing and growing. So I keep telling people, like, if you need LinkedIn or Facebook, like, optimize to get clients, like, you're the man. And that's why I actually had you as my season 1 guest closing out the season, because you were so amazing and you helped me so much.
I definitely do appreciate that, Phil. Definitely do. Can you give me an idea, like, what was your world before the program? Like what made you really want to start with the program?
So after interviewing countless entrepreneurs, and like just saying, how are they doing that? I swear like a sailor. So in my real life, there's like cuss words every 30 seconds, but like I was like trying to figure out how they did it and why they were more successful than I was. I'm like, I have this skill and interviewing them, and they were like, damn, you got a good skill, you should charge and this and that. I'm like, I just don't know how. That's why I started the podcast in the first place, and learning how to become an entrepreneur. And then it was like, okay, I'm seeing all these people get their off LinkedIn, Facebook, and I'm like, okay, how do I create a profile that's engaging enough for it? And I was just floundering, trying like thousands of different techniques, going on blogs and forums and just trying. And then you're like, nah, man, this is how you do it. Boom. And you're like, it was so straightforward. It's like, How did I not see that? How did I not like, it's that easy, but it's
Yeah,
not when you don't have someone teaching. You don't have a mentor. I don't look at you as I'm a coach or anything like that. I'm looking at you as a mentor because you're teaching me. You're further along in the path than I am, but you're like, here, let me help you bring you to where I am so that you can be successful as well. And we can both be successful.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I definitely do appreciate that. Within the program, what were we able to work on, which helped you overcome those challenges?
You, so I always thought it was complicated using LinkedIn to get clients or use it effectively to brand yourself, because it was like it's a business platform, and I've been in the business world back end for so long. I was an employee to a major financial institution, so like talking business is not a problem for me. I know how to talk business, but I didn't know how to brand myself. And you just helped me, like, it's not that complicated to brand yourself. It's very simple. And you like literally walked me through like a child drawing like a horse or something. Like, it's very simple. Look, this is exactly what you need to do. And I felt like a fool, but at the same time, it was like, I didn't know this beforehand. This is knowledge
Yeah,
that I didn't have. And it was like, oh, that's how it, like, I was floundering. I was trying different things. And you're like, you're hurting my eyes. Stop it. You literally was like, stop what you're doing. It's bad. You're only hurting yourself, and it's just hurting my eyes. So I need to help you. It
yeah,
felt like that. That's how it felt when you came to me. It was like the clouds opened up, the light shone down, you know. But you're just there. Like, I can keeps throwing accolades and accolades
hmm,
out towards you, and they may seem hollow to people who are listening, but it's true. Like, I signed a client, a major client, my first big client, my first, like, 4-figure client. It's not huge to some of the clients that you get,
hmm,
and that, but for me, like, it just means like, I can really invest in who I am,
yeah,
and people are ready to invest in what I've done, because you've helped me create a profile that shows I am serious. I'm not just this podcaster in the basement, living at my mom's house and trying to be successful and get those downloads. I'm a businessman that uses podcasting to leverage clients in that.
absolutely, absolutely, and that's awesome. That's awesome, and I appreciate your consistency throughout the program as well, because there are clients that I do have, and it's just like they say they want the results, they say they want this, but it's just like, okay, what did you do from last week? What did you do from the last month? Like, what were the processes that you actually were able to get through? But you owe it to yourself, because you definitely put in the work to make things possible, right?
Thank you. Yeah, it's one of the big things is that, like, if you're going to pay someone to help you, like, money for me has always been tight, because I've always been in this like middle class, like I'm always running that rat race. And so getting clients or getting money and spending money on like a big ticket item for me, your course or your mentorship, it was like, okay, I'm going to get the benefit of this. I'm not going to lose this money and not be able to pay him, because he's worth every dollar. Like, at first I was like, oh, is this worth it? And then
Hmm.
it's like, I got my first client, and then I got a couple freelancers out of it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, he's definitely worth it. And it's worth every penny, because I've already, just the small increments that I've been doing I've been getting paid for it. And I'm like, okay, let's go. And it's just that positive reinforcement that you get
Yeah,
when you're trying to make this living. And like, if you're a multimillionaire investing like what you charge, it's a it's just pocket change. But for someone who's like just starting out, paying the fee, and you worked with me to make a payment plan, because I couldn't pay you all at advance, and which I'm eternally grateful for. And it showed me that, one, you're willing to work with me because you do want to invest in me and help me grow. But it also shows your compassion, and you care for just not just me, but all your clients. You want to put in that work. And that drove me, because I was like, I don't want to disappoint you by
yeah,
not putting in the work and showing that like I'm wasting your time, because time is valuable. That's the one asset that we'll never get back.
absolutely, absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm definitely want to ask you in transition, and thanks for all of that as well. And I know that what you're saying is genuine as well, because
Yeah.
we have worked together, and you have gotten results even prior to us even working together.
Mhm.
Like, even on the call that you had, the strategy session, action plan, you landed like two clients.
Yep.
You
I
landed two
was,
clients.
yeah. One was a full-time client. Pretty much like 1 or 2 days after we had that strategy, I landed a full-time client down in Tampa that I'm working with to build their podcast network and their entertainment network, actually, because it's growing. And then I got a freelance client just off of that as well, that it just paid me a one-time fee, but still I was like, holy crap, this worked. Like,
And,
and
and
it's been incredible.
no, that's awesome. And what did you do that you didn't do before, from getting off that call with me, the initial free call? You know, what was different for you?
You It was just that belief that I can do it. Like someone else, like I knew I could do it, like I had that drive to do it. But when you get someone who's willing to provide so much value to you for free, like you did, and it wasn't free because you knew that it would lead to a partnership.
Yeah,
And that was like, you're like, yeah, here, this is exactly what you need to do. Here's some quick fixes to make your things do better. And then right away when I implemented it, it was just like, okay, let's fix your bio on your LinkedIn profile. Let's make it a little better. Let's add this little picture, this and that. And it was like, boom. Immediately, people were taking me more serious when I messaged them on LinkedIn, and it's worked for actually getting guests on my podcast as well. Like it was a win-win, double win for me, because I got a client, but I also got some big named guests on my podcast that I wouldn't normally have.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So let's talk about that. So like those were the results that you had previously before the program. What kind of results did you have within the program?
Within the program, I've gotten multiple freelance gigs to help the people build their podcast or improve their podcast, similar to how you improved my LinkedIn. I help them improve either growing their downloads, being more professional sounding on their podcast, or even getting those guests that they've always wanted to get. So I was able to help them there, but also I was able to land a huge business in France, as I said before. I think I mentioned before, but I wasn't sure. But this is a startup incubator out in France. The owner was just blown away. I kind of gave him a freebie by getting him as a guest first as my podcast, and then
Mhm.
later on when I worked with you, he saw the results I was getting, and it was a 3-month long kind of conversation to get him signed, but each time it was just proving more and more value to him. And then finally he's like, okay, let's go. Next week we start. And we just actually recently signed the deal. The money's in transition, which I love saying, because it's like, wow, I feel very
Nice,
important. And
nice.
and it was just like, the results were you just kept me consistent in what I needed to do. You had the action plan easy for me to check daily, and it wasn't pressure, but I had pressure on it, but it was a fine amount of pressure.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, would you say that the course or the program that you've invested in, would you say that it paid for itself?
Yes. 100-fold. 100-fold it paid for itself, and it's probably one of my best investments that I've done so far in my career as an entrepreneur.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I definitely do appreciate that, Phil. And I'm also hoping, and I know for sure, based off your passion and what you're currently doing and the work that you're putting in, I know it's only up from here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's only up, like it's only up from here. Yeah.
The things that I'm working on with the client in France that he wants to do, it's going to be one, monumental for my brand. It's just going to help build my brand as a whole, but also it's going to help build your brand, because I'm going to be talking everyone's ears off about how much you've helped me grow my brand just
Absolutely.
from
Absolutely.
the program that we work together with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You even had to turn down good clients.
Yeah, I've had to turn down clients because it was like, I don't have the time to dedicate to build this. So it's like I have 3 full-time clients that I take pretty much all my time, and I love working with them because it's one-on-one. It's not something I can do piecemeal. It's a dedicated plan that I have with them. But I've had other companies come to me and they're like, hey, we want to work with you, and they're like, we want to pay you this, and it's like, sorry, I can't take you on. I'm a little busy right now. Like,
Yeah.
call me in like 3 months, maybe. I don't know. I may have some time,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. So I guess if you were to sum it all up, like what is the transformation that you experienced through the program?
More belief in myself. Like I went from, oh yeah, you can do it, Phil, to Phil, you're a guy, you're a superstar. You are the podcast mogul. Like
Yeah.
it was with you that I came up with the term podcast mogul. It wasn't just random, oh, I'm just gonna say I'm a podcast mogul. No, you're like, dude, you're freaking good, man. You can be a mogul. Like, and I was like, you know what? I'm a podcast mogul. I've just decided it. And it's funny because I when I heard the Fire Fest go on and the documentary, I heard that Ja Rule called himself a music mogul, and I'm like,
Yeah.
how can he be a music mogul? Like he does he even
Yeah.
make music anymore?
Yeah.
And so that kind of always has been in my head. And then when you're like, you can be a podcast mogul, like you can be a mogul in this, and I'm like, that's it. If Ja Rule can call himself
So
a music mogul, I can call myself a podcast mogul. And so I
absolutely.
just gone with it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's awesome. That's awesome. So I guess Phil, my last question to you would be, I know it's only up from here for you.
Mhm.
You recently had to even say no to like a client that was huge
Mhm.
involved in the UFC space,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, we don't want to talk about that. That was a headache
That
for
it
you.
kind of hurts. It kind of hurt that I had to turn them down, but
Yeah,
looking forward, it's only going to make me bigger, so it's
absolutely.
fine.
Absolutely. So now based off all of that, turning down high value clients that may not be valuable to you,
Yeah.
or even getting clients like that are valuable to you and locking down, clients in France and all over the world,
International.
right? And even UK deals the size of like 70,000, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Opportunities. We didn't even talk about that.
Opportunities are there.
We didn't even talk about that. What?
That one I'm taking my time with. I'm not going to rush it, but it is a possibility for a huge another contract that's going to be monumental for me. It's going to change my life if it gets locked in. Not
Yeah,
if, when it gets locked in. It's
yeah,
going to get locked
absolutely.
in.
It's
I'm a
gonna get locked
mogul.
in for sure, for sure, for sure. So I guess with all that being said, what sort of things are you looking into the future to really, grow this business? Like where are you headed now based off of, this projection that we've set for ourselves?
Um, in all honesty, I want to have 5 to 10 full-time clients. Like once I finish the work with this client in France, it's not finished work. It's we're building it from scratch. So that's going to take some time. That's at least 30 to 60 days worth of work that I have to put in to train his staff, teach them how to create the podcast properly, get the guests in, and all that comes with a podcast. Because making a podcast is relatively easy. Growing a podcast, making it a brand and having it produce income eventually, that's where all the work in that people don't understand. They think it's
Yeah,
easy to be the next
yeah,
Joe Rogan. So it takes at least a good 30 to 60 days to do that. Once we get that done, then it starts getting automated. Then I want to get in another client and get that started for them. I want to have a nice, like good 10 clients really, just to be paying me pretty much to produce podcasts and learn from their clients, and then build out a team behind me that I can go out and get those clients and just have my team do
deliver.
the stuff that I'm not really fun, like not really enjoying, like the copywriting and the stuff
Yeah,
that it's kind of boring. Because my personal pleasure is being on a camera, talking to someone like yourself, learning from them one-on-one. Like if I can do a podcast like for a full day, just nothing but podcasting every day and not actually do any of the back end work, that is my dream job. And that's where
yeah,
I'm working towards. And like having meetings with clients and getting them ideas of how to build their podcast, that's where it is. I want more companies coming to me going like, we want your program, similar to how people are reaching out to you to get your program. I
yeah,
want to be that guy for podcasting. I want to be the Dwayne, of podcasting.
yeah. It's definitely coming. It's definitely coming. You've definitely now, beefed up not just your LinkedIn, but also your Facebook.
Oh yeah.
Your Facebook. We didn't even talk about that portion, but
that has actually probably where I've gotten a bit more traction for my business side versus LinkedIn.
Mhm.
LinkedIn is more, I found more getting more qualified guests, that I
Yes,
was able to show that I'm not this like this kid in the basement, like I said before, with most people think about podcasters. But it was there that I create the credibility and get those guests, because I message them and they're like, yeah, sure. They look at my profile, they see the guests that I've had on, and they're like, yeah, I want to be part of that. And Facebook, surprisingly is where I'm getting more of my generating my revenue, because people are interested in like learning from how did you go from like nobody clients or nobody guests to like these millionaires and billionaires, hopefully a
Absolutely.
billionaire in the future. Not going to foreshadow anything, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, there may be.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, at least now you have an idea of like what you need to do and put in
Yeah.
place to get hit that goal, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I know,
It's now just refining, and I'll be at that goal before the end of the year for sure, thanks to your
yeah,
training.
I appreciate that, Phil. I appreciate that. And before we go, one last thing: any recommendations to someone that might be on the fence in terms of going through my training and going through my program?
So if you're on the fence, like I was, at least take the free call. The free call, I guarantee you, will pay you back the time, the 30 minutes that you spend. That like just you'll learn minor little things to tweak that will exponentially grow your thing that it would take you years or months to figure out. Dwayne's going to tell you in like 30 seconds. Like that 30-minute call paid for itself. Like my time is valuable. Like I'm editing podcasts, I'm going after clients. 30 minutes for me is a lot of time, because that's either an episode for my podcast or an editing of a podcast.
Mhm.
But that 30 minutes I spent with Dwayne was enough for me to be sold 100% that it's worth investing in the program, because you cared about me. Like I was a nobody, quote unquote, when I reached out to you, and now here I am, a podcast mogul, international podcast producer,
Yeah,
working with these
absolutely.
big brands. And it came from thankfully helping with you, like from your help. Now, if you're just starting out and you need help, the 30-minute call is worth it. Like it will help you pay for the course, because you'll be able to use that to get the traction. And that's what I did. I worked with Dwayne on a 30-minute call. He got me started. And then I got two clients, freelance and one of my full-time clients. And I was like, okay, let's take this money and invest it in Dwayne, because he invested 30 minutes of his time in me and gave me these actionable advice. And then right after like the first session, it started rolling and I started getting some inquiries. I didn't get any bites, but like it's just showed that, okay, I'm
It's
doing the right
working.
thing.
Yeah,
It's working. It's working. Like just take that free call. You owe it to yourself to do that free call, because then you'll see how valuable the knowledge that Dwayne has done, because he's built his program because he's done it himself. He's like, look, I've actually done this and this is how I've done it. Now look at what I've done with my clients. Like you're an open book and you share so much, and it's like you invest, because our success, your client's success, is your success, because it shows off how well you know your stuff. And anybody who's on the fence, like get off the fence, make a decision, yes or no. Life is too short to be on the fence.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Well, definitely do appreciate those kind of words, Phil. Really do. Absolutely.
Years of podcasting have taught me how to brown nose properly. No, this is very sincere. I do joke a lot because I
Yeah,
like to entertain people, but
yeah,
I'm being honest here. Dwayne has been probably the best investment I've made, and I've spent thousands of dollars on stuff for my podcast. And the pay, like investing in your course and Dwayne's course, is the probably the best ROI I've ever had, because I've been able to not only amplify my voice and my brand, but also I've been able to get those clients that kind of may have turned me away. Not clients, not just clients, but guests as well, that may have just turned me away because I didn't look professional. Like, who is this guy? Now they look
yeah.
at me, they're like, he knows what he's doing. Okay, I can trust him,
Absolutely, absolutely. No, that's awesome, Phil. That's awesome. I definitely do appreciate that, and it was a pleasure working with you as well, and more wins to come.
Yes, sir.
More wins
All
to
my
come.
wins are thanks to your help. Like my success is built on your success that you helped provide me with.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to hearing more of those wins. It's only up from here, beginning of 2021. Just
Yeah.
just the beginning, and we're getting into the next part of 2021. More wins to come for you, man.
The second half is looking very, very bright right now. And for anybody who's on the fence, like you don't get off that fence. Live your life. If you want to be successful and use your profiles to generate that free money, pretty much, because it's printing money. It's literally
Absolutely,
printing money when you update and go through your Dwayne's course to make your profiles golden.
absolutely, absolutely. I appreciate that, Phil. And thanks so much for being on and just shooting this quick testimony. I really do appreciate that, my friend.
It's my pleasure, man. It's the least I can do for all the help that you've provided to me.
Awesome. And it was a pleasure working with you as well.
The pleasure's all mine.